This is BNN, the Bloviation Nation Network.
Hey kids, what time is it?
It's Howdy Dullard time!
Ho-ho! Well, howdy do, you Dullards, you. And howdy do to you, Bison Billy. Well, howdy do, Mr. Dullard, and all you Dullards at home and in nut house galleries everywhere. Let's go! It's howdy Dullard time. This song's supposed to rhyme. If you just found us here, the reason's still unclear. We'll pass the time for you. Got nothing else to do, so we'll just say hello and start the show. Now first, kids, Mr. Dullard and I know that you can see and hear us on your phones, computers, and TVs. But did you know that we can look out and see you too? Oh, yes sir, kids. Creepy, huh? So make sure you comment and give us feedback on every show. If you don't, we could make your lives a living hell, okay? Here we go.
It's the Dullards Club for men and women too, and we are calling this meeting of the Dullards Club to order. And I just wanted to mention something to you, Don, before we get too into this. I've been accused of trying to become too interesting.
That's always a problem.
And I have, well, it's usually not a problem for me in reality, but in my mind, I've been thinking, that would be kind of an interesting way to do something, or that's an interesting take. And then I realized I shouldn't be doing that.
It's the purpose.
It absolutely does. And as much as I think it could be an interesting take, it is almost invariably going to turn into something that's extremely dull and tedious and monotonous.
Fits right in.
But anyway, that was troubling me. So I wanted to get that off my chest before we get too far into this.
I thought of something the other day that I don't know what triggered it. I was probably humming a little ditty or something. And do you remember those old ads that offered to turn your poem into a hit song? There are times that you don't remember that?
I never. I've oftentimes, in the process of writing something or trying to put together a little bit or something.
That's what made me think of it. Go ahead.
I'll go on and I'll Google. I'll Google. I say, give me a word that rhymes with.
Right.
And that kind of thing. But those are one-offs. I haven't.
No,
done the whole...
I to this day, in my little file somewhere, I have a poem that I wrote 20 years ago that I've always said, that'd be a pretty good song. I'm just not a musician, so I couldn't put anything to it. And I laughed to myself because there was a time, and again, we talked about the ads in the back of comics or the back of Popular Mechanics. Turn your poem into a hit song. Just send it in here and get rid of all your copyrights, whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll send it to our people who do all the writing. And next thing you know, you'll be a recording artist and have a hit song. Now you could Google and say, how is this a scam? Instead of, is it a scam? What makes it a scam? I thought of that. And I thought of you because you do get creative with your little songs there.
I think you, if you have to ask that question, then maybe you need another check, some kind of a governor on your searching.
The chameleon story triggered it.
Oh, the chameleon story from last week, yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of this one. Watch out for the realistic bunny robot scam.
Oh,
apparently, you've heard about this?
I've seen it.
Oh, okay. So let's hit me with that.
No, all I can tell you is it looks very as realistic as a mechanical bunny.
Well, because it's all AI.
Oh, is that really? It doesn't exist?
Oh, yeah. It's a legitimate scam, highly advanced AI technologies being leveraged to manipulate potential buyers through fake ads and videos, their viral social media ads, misleading claims, aggressive sales tactics, no customer support, cheap items, or worse, nothing shipped. The older we get and the more technology gets better, the more elaborate these scams are that make them look less and less like scams. I had not heard about it until somebody mentioned it.
I've seen it since I'm really not into the whole rabbit or rabbits of any type.
Right.
I was. It did
Chameleon,
not.
on the other hand, or a teacup monkey is another thing. But
Well, let's go back for a minute on that teacup monkey or the chameleon.
Sure.
If this kind of technology was available 50 years ago, we'll take a round number, say half a century ago.
Probably closer to 60, but yeah.
I was trying to be generous, Don.
Okay.
Let's
Well,
see.
I didn't buy one when I was 20, so.
You see, you learned. If that warning was available, you would have never gotten the 1 out of 2 chameleons that stayed alive long enough for you to get back.
But look at that. I got them. It wasn't like they took my money and ran. I got something. What the scam of this is, they're either not shipping anything or they're shipping that thing that you get at the carnival on the bottom shelf that you just spend $20 to win. That's a stuffed, little bunny. They're making this thing elaborate with AI so that it twitches its nose, it hops around, it flips, and people are getting sucked in left and right.
Well, it's not doing any of those things. It's simply a picture of something that's
exactly.
doing
But
all
that's
those
what's
things. But
getting them to click the buy button.
yeah, well,
Another thing I was thinking of, just as you refer to your feed, I refer to my walk. When I start thinking these things, or more often than not, it's because I need a tradesperson. I need a mechanic. I need a plumber. I need an electrician, and I don't have one. Or I use them so infrequently, the one you got who did such a great job 5 years ago is out of business or been sold. As far as a mechanic goes, years and years ago when I used to commute into work, I'd park at the train parking lot with my little 1994 Toyota Corolla, and I'd come off the train, and underneath my windshield wiper was a card that said, local mechanic, works on Toyotas, with a phone number. And I said, son of a gun. I used that guy for about 15 years. He was so good because you could trust him. I would go and say, Charlie, my brake's squealing. I don't know if I need new brakes. And I'd leave the car. I'll pick it up. He goes, stop by the house. I'd come back the next day. Nothing wrong with your brakes. I just needed to do this. How much oil you? Forget about it. I'll get you next time. The point being that you could trust them. You weren't going to be upsold anything. Finding a good tradesperson is just so valuable. Are you fortunate to have people you go to, your guy or your woman?
don't really have a guy. I do have a way of finding somebody, and generally speaking, again, it's hit or miss. It's very scattershot whether you find somebody, and if you do find somebody, is it somebody who will show up?
Yep.
And if they will show up to do a quote, will they show up to do the work?
Yeah,
all
that's
of
a big
that
part, too.
is really it's problematic, I guess. Of course, I need to watch porn more often, and I'll tell you why.
Because there was that okay,
Now,
maybe it wasn't a non sequitur. Let's go into it here.
How did he transition? But I have heard that in porn, when you call the plumber shows up within 5 minutes. Hey, it's time for us to take a break and then circle the drain, and that's what we should do. So what do we do that now?
Yeah, let's do that. We'll be back shortly.
If you have moderate to severe hypochondria like me, and you've asked someone in a white lab coat about any logic, this is Once Daily Extra Strength Humora. This is Humora helping to distract me from thinking that the rash on my skin is flesh-eating virus, or a slight headache is exploding head syndrome.
Once Daily Humora works by blocking your normal sense of good taste and logic that contributes to hypochondrial symptoms, which could be just about anything. It's rumored to be able to stop rational thought among adults with adolescent senses of humor. Humora can lower your ability to separate fact from fiction. Side effects can include, but are not limited to,
restless leg, restless spirit, night sweats, night terrors, suicidal thoughts, homicidal actions, fear of the unknown, upset stomach, total contentment, itchy scalp, uncontrollable laughter, dry mouth, dirty mouth, difficulty swallowing, distorted vision, death, a fate worse than death, trouble falling asleep, trouble waking up, generally getting into trouble, hair loss, low tolerance for young children, unbridled euphoria, AFib not caused by a heart valve problem, acid reflux, bad breath, bad taste, reckless behavior, feckless responses, unexplained fashion faux pas, irritable bowel syndrome, overactive bladder, unexpected gas, and the heartbreak of psoriasis.
do not operate heavy machinery, doorknobs, flush toilets, or TV remotes, as conflicts may arise over your poor entertainment choices. Many users have experienced eventual death due to conditions like old age and accidents. You should also get tested for TB, and while you're at it, STDs. If you've been to an area where only certain podcasts are available, Humora might be able to help.
Keep shopping until you find a doc who will prescribe once daily extra strength Humora. Humora.
Rap, 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 rap it up.
And it's time to. That was circling the drain. We're
I wasn't
circling.
quite sure. We'll have to add some gurgling sound effects. Or
Yeah, just my typical gurgling will be fine, I'm sure. We're circling the drain, my friends. This is, what we do with each show is we kind of throw some random stuff out there and see how long it takes to totally disappear down the drain. Last night I was watching, just by happenstance, I was watching one of the major streaming services, and I was watching a Kraft Hall of Fame had a roast.
oh, okay.
Of Johnny Carson, of all people.
Ooh.
This is going back to like the late 1960s, I think. And they had the whole panel of, Foster Brooks and Ed
Dick
McMahon.
Martin and
Yeah, they were all there, and all telling jokes that, looking back on it from 50 years in the future, they're very unfunny, very
couldn't swear,
predictable.
for one thing.
They couldn't, but they all had cigars going.
Yeah.
They were smoking cigarettes on
A
the stage.
drink.
Anyway, I watched that. It ended, and for some reason, I just let it go to the next video. The next video came up, but before it did, I got the message from this particular service that said, "Are you still watching?" And I was wondering if they were waiting for someone to say, "No, I'm not watching."
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Was there a yes and no button below it?
There was a yes and no. It was it's an option. I didn't answer. I refuse to be roped into that.
You just watched another one that, yeah. We talked a couple weeks ago maybe about would you rather be a famous singer or pianist or guitarist or whatever. Along those same lines, if somebody said to you, here's $5,000, spend it. The only qualification is that you can't spend it on paying off bills. It's fun money. What would you do? What would you buy? Do you have any thoughts? I'd be hard pressed to find something I wanted.
I'm not thinking of a thing. I'm just thinking of an experience, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Maybe a trip. Maybe
Yeah.
we'd go somewhere, and I know I have spent that on a trip before.
Oh, yeah,
without
easily.
thinking about it.
Yep, easily.
So-
I should have said that doesn't count either. So I guess we.
Why would you do
agreed.
that?
We wouldn't
Why would
buy
you do that
anything.
to me? Why
Well,
would you
because-
give me that kind of money and tell me, first you say you can do anything you want to with it, then I tell you what I'm going to do, and you say you can't do that.
Well, because I wanted to get into fun money. It's like
I don't want your
fun-
money.
A trip
I-
is fun.
don't-
Okay, as long as you're not paying bills. Next, go ahead.
Oh, you talked about AI in the earlier on, and in the movie industry,
Yeah.
it's being used as a way of looking at movies for gender bias. It's actually it's a very serious way of going through and looking at the relative number of women in film and what their roles are.
Yep.
And now this is having a very profound effect on the porn industry. And they're
We're
using
back to porn.
they're using the same tool to look at gender bias. And
About how you use that word too.
well, it's been revealed through AI that every woman character is openly looking to have sex, really in any way possible. So as directors are looking at that and rewriting some of the roles, they are using it to portray women as not wanting sex of any kind. as a way of balancing out the portrayal of women in porn. And what's happened is the films are much shorter. Okay.
And much less interesting, too, I'm sure. I'm going to wrap this little baby up with a little quickie that is going to lead to a little tease. It bugs the crap out of me when I see anything, especially March Madness now, and they're talking about brackets, Super Bowl, whatever it is, these people who should know better, using its UConn verse, whatever, Purdue, instead of versus. The word is versus. It's a Latin word. Verse, the only time you use the word verse is if you're talking about a song or a poem. And I think it justifies me to bitch about it in our blog. So look for that blog post coming up. Let's say goodbye, Pat.
We will be looking forward to it. And on that note, we should adjourn this meeting of the Dullards Club for Men and Women too. And you can find us pretty much exactly where you're looking for us right now. I mean, you've already found us. We are out there, and we'll be looking forward to your smiling face whenever you can join us. So, Don, for you and for me, we're going to say goodbye for this episode. And please remember, stay dull. We're gone.
Bye now.